at the Emirates at the break to discuss all things Arsenal, Chelsea. Izzy Christensen, Rachel Corsie, and Izzy, let's go to that first goal then. Alyssa Thompson, one of the changes for today, and just a bit of skill from her paying off.
Yeah, a superstar from Chelsea. We can see here, this is the best way to paint the picture. I mean, Alyssa Thompson, she's started wide, dropped into that pocket. Kira Walsh gets the opportunity to turn and find her. And this is where the damage happens as she continues to travel. She completely wipes out the whole Arsenal midfield. It gives Lotte Wiebenmoy circled the opportunity to step in. And then here, Lotte Wiebenmoy just backs off, thinking she has to get back into position. Really, she should probably stay with Alyssa Thompson. But the speed and the power of Thompson, you know, coming into this Chelsea team, this is her at her very best. You know, gliding past, you know, players can't be fouled, and then here, the finish to match at the end of a super move from Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I hate to pick out individuals. I think Wiebenmoy initially tried to affect it and actually did need to drop back in because all of a sudden Macario was in free in the box. So had they filtered a little ball over the top of Catley, she would have been a danger as well. If you watch Caldenti in the clip, initially she does get close to Alyssa Thompson. She first breaks the line. She sort of slows up, and I think she needs to keep going there because edge of the box is a midfielder's job.
If we have a little look at Arsenal's chances, then we worried what would be the concern going forward for the Gunners, and just really not tested them enough.
No, they've had moments, and they've certainly had a lot of the balls, probably the best part of the last half hour of that first half. You know, they had a lot of time where they were in possession of it. What's difficult in those moments, though, is it is really hard to create really good opportunities. I think here, you know, you're looking at a good little bit of skill from Caitlin Ford. You're just thinking, can that open up enough for her to just whip one into the far post? It doesn't really. Bjorn takes a good line to limit her chance. And then again here, just, again, it's a little bit of individual skill. I think Blackstenius does really well. And once again, you've got to credit Bjorn because that's a good foot. It's a dangerous moment for a centre-back, and she does well to time it. But we've not really seen Hannah Hampton tested, and I think Chelsea have defended well. I think Bon Pastor will feel a little frustrated at these little moments. Millie Bright a little bit untidy, where they've given them chances.
All right, it is Chelsea ahead then at the break, 1-0 to the Chelsea, and at the moment that phenomenal run continues. When I say the beginning of going through it, oh, they are going to go through it, Izzy. I mean, so much to talk about. Disallowed goals. Ultimately, do you feel Arsenal did enough to go and win this one?
100%. I think Chelsea didn't do enough in the first half to kill the game off. I thought they could have been 2-3-0 up in the first half. They only went into the half-time at 1-0, and I think the response from Arsenal in the second half was outstanding, and I think they can feel very hard done by because I think it was a really poor performance from the referee.
Those two decisions, crucial. Because of the title and what this game meant, they had to win this one.
Firstly, Arsenal put themselves in a position in the second half which showed signs of a team that was so hungry to get back into the game. I thought what they did was exceptional from start to finish in that second half. They scored 2 goals that have been disallowed. That game should have finished 3-1 to Arsenal. They're 2, you know, absolutely abysmal decisions. There's absolutely every right for the Arsenal players. You know, you can see it there on Steph Catley's face, to feel aggrieved because I think it's cost them, and they've been robbed. There's no other way to put it. They've been robbed today, Arsenal, and I just think they showed such incredible character in that second half, and it's a horrible feeling as a player, but they've got a point. They've got a point, which is better than nothing.
All right, we will continue to dissect this one. 1-1 it finishes between Arsenal and Chelsea. The only bright spot for Arsenal, I guess, when they're looking at those Champions League places now, is that Manchester United's unbeaten record has gone. They've lost to that early goal to Aston Villa. So Manchester United lose 1-0 to Villa in the day's other fixture. We've got 4 games for you across the WSL tomorrow, 3 of them with us on Sky. So Arsenal were looking at being 8 points behind at one stage. It's back to 5, but how crucial those couple of disallowed goals could be, particularly when you look at the week to come for Arsenal, which includes just the small matter of a North London derby. Corner from Mead. This then, the goal to win it? Surely, no, ruled out, and we'll get into that one in just a bit. Izzy Christensen and Rachel Corsie here to try and pick that one apart. We should be stood here saying, brilliant. 50-odd thousand in, atmosphere incredible, some great goals, and yet, I guess, what we're going to talk about, and the headlines will be all about the officials.
Yeah, there was some big decisions that are certainly in jeopardy, and some that were just clearly the wrong decision in the moment, which, from an Arsenal perspective, will be very frustrating. I think, as a player, I think you never really lean on those things, so you got to play the game, you got to find a way to win. I think we're slightly differentiated.
They felt like they'd found a way to win, didn't they?
Yeah, but equally, I think in the first half, Arsenal, they didn't do enough. I think, as he said earlier, they could have been 2 and 3-0 down. So to have a brilliant 45 minutes as it was in the second half, they certainly had impetus, they created chances, which is what we've been asking from this side because of so much quality. But at the same time, I think referees will make mistakes. Players made mistakes today too. So you've got to try and focus on that because, that's just the game. That's why we love it.
Try and focus on that. And yet we are clearly going to see those decisions that went the wrong way if you're Arsenal concerned. They had 11 shots in that second half, though. You felt they'd done enough, decisions aside, to win it?
Footballing cliches go, it was a game of two halves. I thought Chelsea were fantastic in the first half. I thought they should have scored more while the momentum was in their favour. I thought the team selection from Bonpastor again was spot on in terms of the damage they did in the first half, and that kind of set the scene. And I think Arsenal going into half-time at 1-0 down then suggests that there's a real impetus there in an Arsenal camp to get back in the game. That it's only 1-0, you're well in the game at 1-0 down, and the sort of excitement and the kind of power that Arsenal came out in the second half with was excellent, and that's what got them back into the game. I think the chances, the timing of the substitutions from Slegers was brilliant. She used the crowd, she used the momentum, and it generated enough in the end to get them at 1-1. But I think the reason we're sat here talking is because because we're meant to be here, but also because there's some decisions that were very controversial in the end, which have ultimately defined the result of the game.
Let's have a look at those decisions then. This is the handball or not handball. We should qualify it by saying it should never have been a corner in the first fight, but the corner was given and then it's disallowed for a handball.
Yeah, and it's clearly not. Courtney said in commentary, I think the referee perhaps has thought because her arm hits her chest, her arm's just dropped back behind her, the referee potentially thinks that's why it has brushed her arm. But
the referee's position, how can she see that?
She's got to get that right. It's not a difficult decision. I think even you see as the referee actually waits a little moment, you see here before she does actually call for the foul, and she waits.
No one's appealing.
If you
either
look
from
at the Chelsea players, there's not a single arm goes up.
And the closest player to is Lucy Bronze. She's the most experienced player on the planet, and she knows. You can see a reaction there. But also the referee's position, top of the screen. How on earth can she see that?
It's a poor header from Niamh Charles, that creates, and it's actually a brilliant finish from Stina Blackstenius. It comes at her quickly, she controls it, does well to just cushion it into her path, and it's a snapshot. It's a shame for her more than anybody because, in that position for Arsenal, you play the number 9, you're paid to score the goals, there's a lot of scrutiny and criticism that comes with the job. And here, see there, Niamh Charles slightly, probably disrupted by Lucy Bronze and Millie Bright in front of her, get nothing on it. It clearly comes off her, almost her thigh, really, not her chest, but it's a brilliant finish, and unfortunately it didn't count.
Yeah, should have been a goal.
3 years ago or something like that, Emma Hazy was sat up in the stands watching on today, said it's one of the most important things we've got to sort out is technology in the women's game. You've got to give the officials the support and the ability to get those decisions right, regardless of, we just sat here for 5 hours looking at those back and back and back, and you can clearly see, right, it's not a handball. When we come on to the offsides, not offsides, we'll say the same. Is it the key thing that's holding the league back at the moment? Do we need to force technology in?
If you're asking my wish list, there are things that are further higher up it than VAR. I feel some of these decisions you would expect to get them right. The corner being given, I think, was a fairly straightforward decision. There was a corner in the first half that was wrongly given. It was a straightforward decision. That, I think, is straightforward. The offsides, I think, when we get to them, they're finer margins. I think technology there is definitely helpful.
Is it also about supporting the referees, the officials, in a bit more experience in about living these games and these moments?
They are being supported, though, and I think that's something which has been noted over the past few seasons. You look at the occasion here today, the magnitude, the stadium, the crowds, and everything that Arsenal do so well, and the spotlight on the pitch. you know, the players deliver, the officials need to deliver as well, because these are two teams that are competing for titles. And I think the officials today have had a huge impact on Arsenal's ability to win the title this season.
You'd be miffed if you were
more than
an
that.
Arsenal player.
But
You'd be miffed
not for TV.
if you were an Arsenal manager. Shall we hear from the Arsenal boss, Renée Slegers, after this quiet match?
Well, Renée, a frustrating afternoon for you. Let's start with the decisions. Can we talk first of all about the Blackstenius handball? What's your take on that?
We were very surprised because I don't see any players calling for it, and we watch it back. It's hard. I've just watched it back from one angle. Doesn't look like a handball, so that's frustrating, of course.
And then another disallowed for offside from Maanum. Have you had a chance to watch that one back?
Yeah, and the angle is really hard to see. And if you say, for me, in retrospect, watching it on video, being able to pause, it's hard for me to see. It's really hard for the referee on the pitch in action to see as well. It's a game where you see momentum shifts and. Chelsea are on top of us at the start of the game, but we come back and we show such mentality in the game and so much quality. But you see, it's fine margins. So then certain decisions become really big decisions, which are out of our hands. But if you would ask me the question now, are you in favour of VAR? I would say yes.
What impact did you feel those decisions had?
Yeah, it makes a big impact, of course, because it's so hard, this game for both teams. And then there's so much effort going into creating things and finishing things. So, of course, it does something. But what I'm really happy with is how the team stayed very composed, and that it drove their energy and urgency and wanting more and being convinced that we can score one, so that was the positive.
You mentioned there the momentum shifting. Let's start with the first half. What did you feel was missing in that first half?
Yeah, of course, I need to watch it back. We know Chelsea, first 15 minutes, they've scored a lot of goals. So we said that we need to have a big desire to defend our box and having willingness to, very strong willingness as a team, all 11 players on the pitch, to weather the storm, because they always bring that, Chelsea. And I don't think we were successful as we wanted to be in that phase. But then, again, I was really happy with how we came back in the game after that.
What was the message at half-time to get the response that you got in that second half?
We did a lot of good things on the ball. A lot of things that we did were working, and we were creating spaces and free players. It was about a couple of details in the final third, and then where we had success and where we could capitalise was in moments when we regained the ball, and that's what we looked at.
Obvious frustration, but you do come away with the point. And just how crucial could that point be when you look at the season overall?
Right now, I'm just disappointed because we wanted 3 points. So from a results perspective, I'm very disappointed because I think we could do it today. I think if you look at the fans, how they react afterwards, I think they've seen an Arsenal that they want to see. The way we represent the club and how we perform on the pitch today. So I'm mostly disappointed with not getting the 3 points today.
Thank you, Renée.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Obvious frustration, disappointment there, I think, referring to the fact she didn't think it was a handball, talking about the offsides as well. I'm paraphrasing, and the flowery language maybe not involved there. But those decisions, we will run back through them. Why it matters so much is they're 5 points of Chelsea at the top. But it's also that buffer. I mentioned Manchester United losing. That's a benefit to them. But it's about those Champions League places too. It's not just about the title. You can see everything unravelling in front of you.
It is, and the difficult thing is for all four teams we expect to be in that race, they all sort of have this feeling around them that they have to make it. Arsenal have given themselves a really difficult task by how they've dropped points in other games so far. Today we did see a side that I think looks like they certainly can compete with the best. They're going to now also have to rely on other teams to help them out if they are to certainly compete for that top spot and for the top three. That said, because there is four in the race, they are going to take points off each other, but they're not out of it yet. They've just put themselves in a really tough position.
I mean, credit for Manchester City going into tomorrow. They can go top of the WSL with a win. Let's have a little look at the goals that stood and those that didn't stand. The offside goal first up. It's about looking at the markings on the grass. I mean, we're going back over this, again reiterating, unless you have technology, you can't.
Yeah.
But this is the real frustration there. You think they're on?
Yeah, I think it's superb from Arsenal in terms of Russo, you know, after she scored the equaliser, had the bit between her teeth and releases Maanum here. And this is where we freeze frame it. And this is all we can go off. We can go through the cuts on the grass. I know each cut of grass is 7 yards long. And you can just see there at the top of that darker shade that Maanum bright, I think it's Niamh Charles on that. Is it Niamh Charles on the far left-hand side?
It is, yeah.
It becomes subject to our eyes, and I think that's onside. I know, Rach, you disagree with me, so we can have an argument live on air, but I think this is onside, and I think the lineswoman on the far side there is looking straight at Niamh Charles, and it's just purely based on what she sees. And I don't think there's enough in that to call it offside.
I was actually surprised the lineswoman put her flag up, because when you see it in real time, it actually looks like Maanum's clearly on. It almost looks clear she is onside. We know from seeing how VAR has been used in the men's game how fine these decisions can be, and there's been so many goals scored and not scored, and we've gone, oh, that's definitely on, and it ends up off, and vice versa. I think for me, though, defensively from Chelsea, that is very, very poor. I think how Russo turns in midfield and runs 50 yards with the ball, I just wouldn't expect that in that moment in the game. And Millie Bright's decision to go towards Russo in that moment, I think, is a bold decision and probably not the right one given the risk. And that very easily could have stood.
Can I say these things even themselves out over the season? They also even themselves out over a game, because if we actually look at the equalising goal, there's a sniff of offside in this.
I think this is onside as well, and I think, again, it's tight as we get to it. You know, I think Russo, she spins on the back shoulder of Nat Bjorn. Get a better angle here. It's a clever ball, and it's the first time Arsenal sort of decided just to cross the ball. And again,
you think that's on?
I think that's level with Millie Bright. And again, if you look at the lineswoman's position, we can only go off the line of the 18-yard, the top of the 18-yard box, and then in a yard. The lineswoman isn't level with Alessia Russo, so therefore she's level with Millie Bright. To me, that is bang on side. It's absolutely flush, bang on side. And again, that decision's been given, and this is my own my own opinion. The lineswoman isn't level there with Alessia Russo to give that offside, or Millie Bright.
Again, it's one we probably would need the lines drawn, but again, it's a very intelligent ball. You know, there's very little time for the back line of Chelsea to prepare for that, because in the moment she has it, you don't anticipate she's going to just swivel her hips and create just a little half space to get the ball in. That said, for me, and I know from a Chelsea perspective, when you look at that back, and I know as a centre-back you look at that and you're not going to look forward to seeing it, because you know as a centre-back you cannot let your striker come off your back shoulder and be square.
Would you, if one ground can support the technology in terms of offside, or the kind of smaller elements of technology without putting in full-blown VAR, would you do it even though some grounds can't? Surely that's a unfair playing ground for some games. You can't do that, can you?
No, I don't think it can, because I think it has to be even across the league throughout the whole season. You know, anything can happen at any ground, any week, you know, throughout the WSL season. So I think there has to be parity throughout the whole of it. So from that perspective, then you probably can't have VAR, but should VAR be in the game? Yes. And I think today's an example, a massive push, an acceleration towards the process of, let's hope that becomes a thing, because I think those are just subject now. We can only analyse them based on what we see,
and we've got
our eyes are different. We've got slow-mos, but our eyes are different sitting on the fence.
But for me, I'm not that sold on VAR coming in, because I'm not against it coming in, but I just think the cost and the changes that would be required, you know, some teams play in stadiums that can't facilitate it, which I would argue we need to go into that debate, because I think we need to give a platform for the game to shine. And
semi-automated offside, you know, something like that.
Semi-automated offside delivers the correct decisions on both those occasions today. I'm not a fan of VAR in the game. In football, you know, men's football, women's football, whatever. I'm not a fan of it, because for me it just takes the emotion out of the game. But I think, you know, I remove that from my own opinion and go, well, what's the pragmatic response? You know, there's a really high success rate of VAR in the men's game. Yes, it's frustrating for fans, but if it gets the decisions right, at the end of the day, that's what football needs. And today, again, I'll say it's a huge example of the necessity of it.
Yeah, and it feels a bit like goal line technology now. It seems like such a simple thing that you could implement, semi-automated offside, as opposed to the full-blown VAR. Don't you love talking about decisions? No! So maybe we'll talk about goals in a bit. Of course we love it. Headline news. It was meant to be, though, all about the results and the goals, but other things taking precedent right now. We will discuss more in just a bit. Going into today, Sonia Bonpastor said it was a best week training with this team since she's been part of the club. Brings 5 changes, brings Thompson in, now the 19th different goal scorer. As much as Chelsea may have stunk out the place in some parts of this game, they weren't at their best. They still win.
They're a fantastic team. I think even, Alyssa Thompson did come in today, but she's also had a lot of minutes building into this, and she's a fantastic addition. But they do have so much depth. Even we saw Lucy Braun start today and Ellie Carpenter come on. 2 players, Lucy who's been, serial winner, and Ellie who's again another new signing that's trying to contribute on the pitch and off it too to the environment, continue that winning success. And Chelsea may potentially lose that spot at the top as this week continues, but they're without doubt the team for me that have the most quality and the biggest depth, and that will be something that is key as the months continue.
And it shows when we start today talking about Kim Little not being in there for Arsenal and who they replace and where they get the balance. Chelsea just seem to get it right, and that's taken years to get to this stage. Let's have a little look at Thompson's goal. I mean, a lovely little chip.
Yeah, it was a terrific start to the game by Chelsea. Kira Walsh got early, touches on the ball, looking to find those sort of passes through the lines. And Alyssa Thompson, she was on fire today. She was exceptional, from start to finish. She offered pace, power, and then this bit of quality with the goal. It's a lovely little dink. You can just see the pocket position she picks up. She's played in wide area, but she drops centrally, causes Arsenal a problem and exposes Arsenal's weakness for me, which is playing without a defensive-minded midfielder. I thought when Cooney Cross came in, I thought she offered a bit more solidity in that role. I think that's definitely one for Arsenal to look at, but I think this particular finish here, underrated finish, really clever, beautiful sort of weight on the ball. You can see what it means to her. And I thought Chelsea should have then gone on to find that second goal to provide a bit more of a cushion, because I thought in the first half they were outstanding.
There's only so many times we can say, Chelsea weren't at their best. They've won points again. They've dropped a couple today, but still just, if you were coming to the Emirates for this game, a draw, you'd walk away going, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I think this is the first time I've really seen them sort of really under pressure, and as we say, they still find a way to not lose the game, and that's something that the longer that goes on, it just continues to be this really powerful thing that from mentality on both sides of that, teams that are playing against them and for them themselves, they just always know they have that blend of quality that knows how to get the results.
And yet, Manchester City, if they win at Everton tomorrow, they go above Chelsea in the table, and themselves, City would say they haven't been playing to their full potential.
No, I don't think so, but they've got the job done in, all those games they've played already this season, and they've got an opportunity to go top tomorrow, which, is a superb position to be in, but it's still very early on in the league, just over a third of the way through in terms of, the quantity of fixtures. Things get tough, and I keep saying that the thing that Manchester City have got an advantage with is they don't play midweek Champions League football. Chelsea go away to St Polten midweek. Arsenal are playing midweek in the Champions League as well, and, these things start to become a factor, and obviously Manchester United losing today as well is, it's a big surprise. That end, excellent result for Villa, but Manchester United have looked terrific so far this season as well. So I think the league is looking good in terms of the competition.
As always, it was a pretty regular, quiet afternoon at the Emirates, right? All is fair in love and draws. Goodbye.
Well, Alessia, that was such a hard-fought game. Talk me through, try and sum up how you're feeling after that one.
Yeah, really disappointed to actually not take 3 points. I think we deserved to win. And I think some of our goals that we scored were wrong decisions. I know the referees have a tough job, but it's the high level we're in now. So, yeah, frustrated. Obviously, I've just come straight off the pitch, so I'm frustrated. But, yeah, I understand they have a tough job, but I feel really disappointed to not take all 3 points.
There was the handball decision and then the offside as well. Have you had a chance to sort of talk to any of your teammates? Are you all feeling the same kind of frustration at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think we put in a really good performance today and something that we need to take with us through the rest of the season. We're so dominant here with our fans. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it was a handball. I haven't seen the offside back, but I'll look at them both back and go from there. But yeah, disappointed, but yeah, we moved. It was a positive performance from us after our start to the season, and to be here with these fans is just incredible.
You do get a point out of the game, and just how crucial could that point be when it comes to the title race and keeping you within touching distance of Chelsea?
Yeah, look, it's massive. Every game in this league's massive with the calibre of teams we have now, and we've seen that at the start of the season. So, yeah, it's important that we got the point, and more importantly, a really good performance that we'll take into the rest of the season.
Your 50th WSL goal as well. Congratulations for that. Where does that rank in terms of the importance of some you've scored?
Yeah, up there. I mean, I love scoring, especially here at the Emirates. So, yeah, happy to do that. But yeah, disappointed to not win today.
Finally, just a word on the incredible fans and atmosphere here today.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just incredible. I love playing here, like, so much. You can hear it, and every time we went on the break or we defended something important or we had an attack, we kind of get an extra lift from them. They were massive, and yeah, we can't thank them enough.
I know there's frustration, but you do go away with the Player of the Match trophy. Congratulations, Taylor.
Thank you.